to die because of a hurdle. Be that person who, when you speak, whatever you speak out should be the kind that speaks to other people and motivates them to go in the right direction. Please forgive me, I forgot to remove the lock on my phone. Are we getting this? You shouldn't let the circumstances in your environment affect your enthusiasm. Instead, allow your enthusiasm to influence your circumstances. But here's the thing about enthusiasm. You can have enthusiasm, but you can lose it. It's very possible to lose your enthusiasm. I gave an example of the hurdles that you face, right? But sometimes it might not even be a hurdle. Sometimes things just lose out of touch. And I would like to give an example of a very good person in the Bible. I think if you are in Sunday school, these were the very first stories that you'd hear about. These were the introduction to Christianity kind of children's stories. And I think all of us at least have heard of these stories. And that's the story of David. Guys, David had so much enthusiasm. Like if there's someone who sort of seemed like this was the guy who felt like God loved him that much, it was David. You'd hear how he talks about God. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not lack. I don't lack anything. This is God. That's how the man used to speak about God. But how did he start? He started with enthusiasm. There are two sides of David if you look at the Bible. There's a side of him as a child, and there's a side of him as an adult, as a king. As a child, you notice that David had a lot of zeal and enthusiasm. So much zeal such that he when everyone else was afraid to go in war, in battle, when the Goliath was around, he was the only one who seemed willing to march and fight this great giant. He was the only one who was willing to run towards war. He was the only one who was willing to face hurdles and come up to these situations and tribulations. But then a couple of scriptures later, when he becomes king, all of a sudden, we don't know where his enthusiasm has gone, where his zeal has gone. Instead of running to war as usual, at the time when kings would go to war, fight for territories or whatsoever, he finds himself staying back for comfort. Notice the difference, the shift. And I want you to see yourself in David. When it was time to come for evangelism, I want to speak on behalf of Deacon Kafebo. You were there at the beginning, excited, but then mass evangelism at Onza. You were comfortable somewhere. All of a sudden, there's a big difference between the latter you and the current you. I want you to check your neighbor and ask him, is he talking about you? Hallelujah. David stopped doing what he used to do. David's zeal can be traced from everything that he used to do in his day-to-day. Even as he talked to himself, you could see that this man walked with God. His passion was coming from somewhere. His passion was coming from his love for God. Everything, even as a kid, when he was having when he was building his passion, all the way until he found himself going for war. You can see that this guy built some trust from his pursuits in fighting the bear and the lion. He grew his trust in God, and say it's like he had all of this zeal and he knew God in a certain light. But then all of a sudden he decided, with time he allowed certain things to cripple his zeal. And I don't know if there's anybody like you, like David, who might have experienced something like this. But I want you to begin to believe in God for a turnaround, for zeal to come back in your life. Hallelujah, child of God. Let us go quickly, media. Revelations 2, verse 4. Don't worry, they are very sharp people. Look at that. Nevertheless, I have this against you, that you have left your first love. You have left your first love. You have forsaken your first love. Let's just hold that thought real quickly. Just to recap, we've shown you what someone with zeal looks like. And we've spoken about how someone who had zeal might look like current. And we've even given an example of someone who was once in the right direction and all of a sudden their direction changed. But what about God? What does God feel about zeal? What is God's heart when it comes to things of zeal? Hallelujah. Let's go to Romans 12, verse 11. NIV, please. I hope we're getting this. I hope it's making sense. This is God's heart, child of God. Let's read it together. It says, never be lacking in your zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Never be lacking. Never be lacking. That first phrase already tells you who's responsible for the zeal. Who is it? Is it God? It's you. You are responsible for making sure that you do not fall out. 2 minutes, we're going to get to how we can maintain, sustain, and not fall out of our zeal. But I wanted you to just understand God's heart towards zeal and why zeal is important. In Galatians 6, verse 9, the Bible tells us, and let us not grow weary while doing good. For in due season you shall reap if we do not lose heart. God does not want us to become weary. Remember, this person is doing good. Someone who's zealous wants to do good. You're in the church, you want to buy seat covers, you want to do so many good things. The Lord has placed a burden over you. But guess what? Worry starts trickling in. And all of a sudden you start stepping back. All of a sudden you start looking at your budget. All of a sudden you start looking at your problems.